Uh, and to keep it going with that, we have a whole different situation where this occurs because I will give Biden some props for this because he did release some of the 9/11 papers, and we got the first release from there, so we can get into that story right there. From the 9/11 papers.
Really revelatory documents being released here by the Biden administration with regards to 9/11 and Saudi.
I've become quite obsessed over the last couple of weeks, just kind of revisiting 9/11 over the last 20 years. And one of the parts that will always get me is the Saudi connection. And
I kind of felt the same way. I watched the Netflix documentary. I've seen plenty of docs and everything about 9/11. I love this country. And that was a failure of government. It was a failure of our intelligence agencies. Everybody failed us as Americans that day. Then they failed us in the moments right after where they continuously lied. They did nothing to get the people who actually had connections to this, as this paper shows. It was a failure of our system. I don't think government trust has ever bounced back since 9/11. I don't know how it's going to bounce back with everything that's taking place now, but the trust in the government has been falling so far. Let's get back into the story.
A lot of the questions around the Saudi Arabian involvement. I'll say at the top, like, look, there is still to this date no evidence that the highest levels, and I say the highest levels of the Saudi government were involved in this plot. If anything, they hated bin Laden just as much as we did. But here's the question. What about the lower level ones? And those documents were held very tightly by the Bush administration. The Obama administration vetoed that bill that was pushed through the U.S. Senate, which would allow 9/11 families in order to sue the Saudi Arabian government. Then the Trump administration refused to declassify a further number of documents. Biden, in accordance with the 20th anniversary, ordered them declassified. We covered this about 2 weeks ago. Well, we got our very first one. So let's put this up there on the screen. And this is very important. Because what it does is that the first declassified 9/11 document by the FBI also includes a memo. Now, within the memo, the FBI actually point to it and say definitively that it now shows no Saudi conspiracy. So let's put that Zero Hedge actually is the one who spotted this. Let's put that up there on the screen, that tweet. And what he points to there is that the FBI's kind of introductory memo, which was written in 2016, says it puts to bed any doubts about Saudi complicity. However, that is not even remotely true, because what you can actually see within the document is that it details even further the Saudi official Omar al-Bayoumi, who was in California and actually helped two of the 9/11 hijackers both secure a boarding house, a place to stay. He claims that he just ran into them while he was at, right? Also, Mr. Bayoumi, get this, was a grad student who never went to school, had no discernible source of funds, and just happened to be in California next to the 9/11 hijackers.
That seems legit.
I got a lot of questions.
They've also tracked the way he was in fact receiving all of these payments from all these like Saudi-run firms and not showing up to actually do any work, but still getting paid. And these two hijackers, they didn't speak any English.
No, exactly. It was Midhar and Hazmi. They spoke zero English, and he was their shepherd. And they were the first two to arrive here in the United States.
Right. And what people who encountered them at the time said is that there was no way they could have navigated around America without help. Bayoumi just happens to meet them immediately upon their arrival, happens to provide financial support.
So the FBI knew about these connections. They tried to downplay these connections. They are our leading law enforcement agency in America. They should be held to a really high standard, and things like this show us why we should not hold these guys to the highest standard of the law, because they don't even follow the law. They're not even doing everything to protect us. The CIA failed, the FBI failed, who was that? Department of Defense, for everybody failed. Everybody failed in this instance. The CIA had a chance to put the guy on the watch list, and they didn't. Put both the guys who met with the BNB guy, they had a chance to put them on the watch list, and they did nothing about it. Nothing about it. But this is our leadership. These are the people in power. These are the people making the decisions. These are the people who help push us to war with countries who had nothing to do with us being attacked. It amazes me. Who's going to get in trouble for this? Who? Somebody knew. Somebody knew.
To them as well and basically shepherd them around. And then why this is important is because he had direct connections to at least Saudi consular officials and was being
at the
paid
LA consulate.
backdoor by the Saudi government. So effectively, it looks very much like Mr. Bayoumi was Saudi intelligence, operational on the ground here, doing something, and just happened to become really besties with these two 9/11 hijackers.
The new memo also cites an FBI source who said Bayoumi held, quote, very high status at the Saudi consulate in LA. So at the time, they tried to portray him as, oh, he was barely anybody, didn't even know here. Here's what they said. He had, quote, even higher than many of the Saudi persons in charge of the diplomatic mission, strongly suggesting that he was an intelligence agent running a covert op on U.S. soil. So that is what is inside the new 9/11 document. And I knew when it was going to come out that it was almost certainly going to concern al-Bayoumi. Really what it is that there are so many questions on 9/11 which remain completely unanswered. Lawrence Wright, who wrote The Looming Tower, which is my favorite book on 9/11, he gave an interview that I was watching this weekend in which, you know, the exact reason why the CIA never put Nawaz al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Midhar on a FBI watch list still today is unclear.
Wow.
And by that, I mean they covered it up.
Wow.
They still, 20 years later, we do not have an official justification as to why a CIA cable, which recognized that these two gentlemen had visas to the United States in 2000, were not given over to the FBI. We don't have the names of those people. We don't know who was responsible. Over 50 people read that CIA cable while it was inside of their system. Nobody at the FBI was notified. Now, look, is there...
All right, so yeah, he's getting into some of the stuff I was saying. It was a failure of government. Everybody that day failed us. Nobody got in trouble for their failures. Who was reprimanded, who was in trouble? I feel like if I mess up at any job that I had and I made those type of mistakes that cost lives, somebody's getting in trouble. Somebody has somebody to account for, but we don't. Our system is just so broken in America right now. It's so broken that there's like no punishment for the people in power. You do whatever you want. You don't have to say I made a mistake. You don't have to acknowledge it. You don't have to do anything. You just keep doing what you're doing. You keep doing what you're doing until somebody say, you know, hey, now it's time to change, but I don't know who's going to pop up and actually say that. Who's going to come make that change? Because it ain't looking good. It is not looking good. It's your boy DJTheParkBoy, and I'm here with a special product for you. I got some Delta 8 weed from JK Distro, and I'm saying it's amazing. It's clean, smokable, and the best part is they deliver it right to your door. Because of the 2018 Farm Bill, it's now legal for them to have Delta 8 weed sent through the mail. That's right. And if you use promo code FLOSS1, you can get some clean, smokable weed sent to your door direct. You have options. You go right there to jkdistro.com. You look at all the strands they have, which is a lot. You can even get you some edibles. You can get you some wine. Anything in between you can think of. You put in promo code FLOSS1, you're going to save you 20%. So go ahead, hop on that now. Make sure it's in the description.